Welcome back. 17 News is your local election headquarters. As the election deadline approaches, we're taking an in-depth look tonight at the candidates for Bakersfield City Council. 17's Michaela Armstrong has what you need to know about the candidates.
I spoke to candidates running for each of the wards up for election. Tonight, I'll tell you about Ward 7. Ward 7, the southern end of the city, sandwiched between Wards 1 and 5, is an open seat this election cycle after the announcement that Councilman Chris Parlier would not seek re-election.
Cutting services.
He leaves it to 3 candidates to vie for his seat: Manpreet Kaur, Tim Collins, and Raj Gill. Gill was born in India and came to the U.S. in 1986. He is a 60-year-old business owner and has lived in Bakersfield for over 20 years, which he says drove him to run.
In Ward number 7, mostly people working people, and they have same problem facing, but not in the same field, maybe in different field, but the same problems.
Manpreet Kaur says this is the moment she has prepared for all her life.
I can always had a desire to come back and serve the community, and I'm hoping to serve the city in a bigger way with being on the Bakersfield City Council.
Kaur is a 29-year-old director of development of the Jakara Movement, a grassroots community building organization. She was born and raised in Bakersfield, living in the 7th Ward all her life. She says knowing the ward will help her lead.
I have grown up on different parts of this ward. I understand the different areas and the needs because my own family have lived in those neighborhoods. I've lived in those neighborhoods. I've attended those schools. I've rode my bike through those same neighborhoods. So I can see how our city has grown and the direction we're going.
Kaur is a founder of the Kern County's chapter of the Jakara Movement and has 2 master's degrees in city planning and public policy. She says that has given her the insight into how to tackle the needs of this community.
Most of the decisions that are being made and most of the things that the City Council addresses, I've studied in my city planning program or in my public policy program, and having that educational background is one of my strong suits.
She'll face another lifelong Bakersfield resident, Tim Collins, full-time teacher with the Kern County High School District and board member for the Kern County Farm Bureau.
I felt like it was a time for me to jump in and serve the city and the people of Ward 7 that I've grown up with and lived down with my whole life. I feel like I know their needs, I can represent them.
Collins is 28.
I have the energy at this young age to devote to the city, to get to know a lot of people, to know their wants and needs and desires, and make sure we keep the city on a good path where we really have a good future, because it's going to be my future too, and the future of my students and everybody else in Bakersfield.
Crime and homelessness are big issues in the 7th Ward, and Collins says public safety is the first on his list.
Bakersfield has higher crime than most places in California, and that's really unacceptable. And the homeless problem here is just getting worse and worse. We've been putting more money into the police department, but things aren't getting better.
Collins hopes if elected, he can change that.
I have a lot of friends that are involved in law enforcement, and I've talked with the police chief and the sheriff and the DA and figuring out what do we actually need to do, because a lot of people want to talk about that, but I really want to make the city a safer and better place to live.
Gill says the problem starts with police.
I see every day, no police respond faster. Police response is very, very long, 5 to 6 hours, sometime next day, sometime 2 days. When we call the police, they don't come.
Gill wants to put more money into the police department to shorten those response times and lower crime. Kaur is also concerned about public safety, but says economic development is also on that list of issues.
I am championing the need for increased economic development and growth in our city. I myself, for example, have high school friends who now have their own small businesses, and I'm so proud to see that they've turned a passion into a business and continue to grow it. I want to have an ecosystem where that's the reality and that's a tangible goal for people.
Collins' endorsements include Congressman Kevin McCarthy and Assemblyman Vince Fong. CORE is endorsed by the Greater Bakersfield Chamber of Commerce, Assemblymember Rudy Salas, and City Council members Andre Gonzalez, Eric Arias, and Bob Smith. She says endorsements only emphasize her plan as a City Council member.
But with that, it's that validation that this is a candidate that will stand up for the different diverse needs of our city and to be effective. And that's how I would like to be an effective candidate, is communicating those needs of our city and championing them that much harder.
Begill says all he needs is his door-to-door approach connecting with voters, something he hopes to keep if elected.
I ensure them when they need, day or night, 24 hours. They can call me or they can come to my home. And I will try to my best to solve their problems.
Looking towards Election Day, each candidate is optimistic.
I think I am from the public, and I want to be a voice for those people's voice never heard. I am, nobody, no big contractors, no big corporations, and no big people behind me. I am a very simple, so only public behind me, So I want to be a voice for the public.
I'm optimistic about the future here, so I'm looking forward to being able to do that on the council. I think this is a very important race on which way the council ends up turning, and I want to keep it going in the right direction.
Having the educational skills, having built community relationships, having the confirmation and the validation of the endorsements that I've received so far, I think really is what I'm highlighting and championing and showing that this is the right move and this is the right candidate for residents to also select when they're voting in November.
Each Ward 7 candidate will be on your ballot on November 8th. To learn more about each candidate, visit our website at kget.com.
And that was Michaela Armstrong reporting. Now, a reminder, the 3 candidates running for the Ward 7 seat will be here in our KGET studios for a live debate next Thursday, November 3rd at 7 p.m. If you have a question you would like us to ask the candidates, send us an email to 17news@kget.com and type in "question for the candidates" in the subject line.